Why do you support Trump?
Well, can I ask you a question real quick, if you don't mind? First of all, I watch your stuff. I'm pretty impressed by you, I have to tell you. You have really good presence.
Appreciate you.
But I want to ask this question for you. Like, objectively speaking, why do you think the country would be better off if Biden was still president? Objectively speaking.
Yes.
Okay, and why do you think that?
Because I think that he wouldn't have imposed tariffs. He wouldn't have started a war with Iran. Those are two very good examples for why the economy would be significantly better off. Why would we have lower inflation, therefore lower interest rates, to then stimulate investment and job growth to a greater extent?
So do you think Biden did a good job in his first term?
For domestic policy, yes.
Okay. But Parker, are you not bothered by the way that whole situation went down with Biden, towards the end? Did you honestly think he was competent enough to continue as president?
Yeah, to continue as president. Do I think that he was cognitively declined? Yeah. Do I think that he's to the extent that I would want from a president? No, I don't. I wouldn't want that from a president. But is Trump to an extent that I would want? No. Is Trump in a better state? No. Trump is, I think, in a worse state, right? Cognitively. Why? Because he's insane and he believes things intentionally that are crazy. He said we should look into disinfectant by injection to fight COVID-19. He said we should nuke hurricanes to fight them. He said windmills are causing whales to die in numbers never seen before. He said that if Jesus were the vote counter in California, that he would have won the vote against Joe Biden. He says he drinks Diet Coke because it kills grass, therefore it kills cancer. Okay? I mean, Donald Trump is an insane individual. He believes genuinely ludicrous things.
I mean, I agree that, Trump says some things that are kind of wild and out there, but I genuinely believe that he wants the country to succeed. I mean, he's taken a lot of arrows.
Wait, don't you think that's true about Biden as well?
In what sense?
He wants the country to succeed? Succeed?
Well, here's what I'll say about that. I think that his policies his open border policy was a complete disaster.
There was an open border policy. That's just made up.
I don't think that's made up. I mean, if you look at the stats, the illegal immigration crossings were significantly higher under Biden than they are under Trump.
Okay.
Significantly higher.
Wait, that is okay. So, for example, do you think the border was open under Trump's first administration because border crossings went up under Trump's administration as opposed to the end of Obama's administration?
No, but I think Trump emphasized.
You just contradicted yourself, though, didn't you? Because you said that the only reason why Biden was open border was because there was more. When I hear open border, I hear no restrictions on the border. That's clearly not was in existence. Okay, we clearly had restrictions on the border.
So you think that? Let me rephrase it. So do you believe that Biden's Biden's border policy was less restrictive than Trump's in terms of allowing people into the country? Less restrictive.
Yes, I would say that. But I think it's important to consider that Trump undermined the policy of the Biden-Harris administration, the bipartisan border bill that would have secured the border and would have made the legal process go quicker. Trump's policies violate due process rights, are inhumane, lead to harmful conditions for U.S. citizens. It's led to the justification of the murder of multiple U.S. citizens in broad daylight.
Wait, what's led to the justification of U.S. citizens in broad daylight?
The Trump administration justified the murder of Alex Preddy, Renee Good, and other individuals killed by ICE.
Oh, so we're talking. Okay, you're pivoting to ICE now.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is that not what you just asked me about?
I didn't ask you about ICE. I asked you about, do you feel like Biden's border policy was less restrictive than Trump's? That's what I asked.
So that would be relative to ICE, would it not? And
sure,
how they conduct ICE?
Yeah, but I haven't gotten that specific yet. I'm just asking, generally speaking, if you felt like Biden's border policy was less restrictive than Trump's.
Trump's policy is more restrictive because he's actively trying to do unconstitutional things to make it more restrictive.
He's trying to do unconstitutional things.
Yes, literally. He wanted to remove people from the country who were under legal permanent residence, such as Mahmoud Khalil. He held him for over 104 days without due process because he wanted to remove him from the country for pro-Palestinian speech, which a federal court determined his First Amendment rights were violated.
Right, but the illegal immigration issue has been so profound and pronounced that it's a chaotic situation that he's dealing with. I mean, I don't think that's. Do you think that we don't have an illegal immigration problem in this country today?
I think the problem is the fact that the legal process doesn't go quick enough to then facilitate all of the people who are undocumented in the country to come through the process legally. because I think that leads to them being mistreated in this country. Okay, it's not because I think that they should be removed from the country if they haven't committed a violent or serious offense. It's because I think that they've been mistreated in this country because the legal process is not quick enough, where it then incentivizes them to come to the country undocumented. Come to the country undocumented. Think about this: you're going through all of these conditions to want to come to this country for a better life, right? They're going through so much because they want to be an American. Okay. If they're not coming here to harm anyone, they're not a threat to the safety and security of our population. Isn't that exactly who you want in this country? People who are willing to come here for a better life, that want to be Americans?
Yeah, but you have to have a process.
That sounds like people who want to be in this country, who you would want in this country.
You have to have a process for that. You can't just...
I agree we should have a process for it, but we have to actually incentivize people to go through said process. Because the current process right now takes several years on average, and often costs thousands of dollars to go through.
Yeah, I mean, look, like there's definitely, I mean, I can agree with you that you want to have a... reform the way that folks can come into the country. I can understand that, but I don't think that just to ignore it and just come in,
that's not what I was saying.
I think there's a direct correlation between the open border policy and importing votes, along with not require, there's no sense in not having voter ID as a requirement for voting. Like having an ID to vote, that could be, I mean, if you have to have an ID to buy cigarettes, to buy alcohol, to get on a plane, to do certain things like that, you should have to have an ID to vote.
Okay.
And to me, there's a direct correlation with letting people into the country, and then at the same time saying, well, you don't have to have an ID to vote either. So you're just...
I think this is dishonest framing. Can I explain to you why?
Sure.
Okay, the reason why this is dishonest framing is because, again, the border was not open. There was no, there was absolutely restrictions on the border. Okay. Two, you can't import votes in terms of undocumented immigrants because undocumented immigrants can't vote. And then three, there is voter ID. You require an ID to register to vote. Okay. Undocumented immigrants cannot register to vote, therefore cannot vote in U.S. elections. Therefore, you do need an ID in order to be able to vote. And these policies that Trump and the Republicans are bringing up are simply just voter suppression bills because it's not common for undocumented immigrants to vote. There's not good evidence to indicate that at all, that it's at all a risk to our elections. So this whole narrative is simply for voter suppression to limit people from being able to vote in the first place who actually are eligible to vote rather than limit people who are ineligible from voting. Because we already have laws on the books that do that.
So you don't think that the elections are... Do you think the integrity of our elections is sound?
Absolutely.
Let me ask that.
Yeah. The only threat to our elections I see is MAGA and Trump, who tried to undermine our democracy by sending false slates of electors to Electoral College to cast Trump votes when he didn't win to try to steal the election, by getting 70% of the Republican Party to believe the election was stolen with absolutely no evidence, by calling for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, because he didn't like the election results, even though 60-plus courts indicated no sufficient evidence to overturn the election, many of which have Republican and Trump-appointed judges.
Why do you think Trump got reelected, Parker?
People are misinformed about the economy and blamed the Biden administration for the inflation that happened under the administration, even though it wasn't caused by them, right? Because they bought the lies that Trump made specifically about trans people and the border. And you're an example specifically. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. You're an example of a person who was impacted by that misinformation. You believed that Democrats supported quote unquote open borders. The typical Democratic position that the Democrats held to, the bipartisan border bill, was to criminalize undocumented entry and to make the legal process go quicker. Okay? That's their policy. They still want to go after undocumented immigrants and deport them. They just want to prioritize going after those that have committed violent and serious offenses rather than those that are just coming here for a better life.
But again, do you think that border crossings were significantly higher under Biden than they are under Trump? I mean, I'm sure you've seen the videos. I'm sure you've seen
I've already answered this question. Yes. The answer is yes. But
right.
What you're not understanding is that we also saw border crossings go up under Trump's first administration as opposed to the end of Obama's administration. Does that then mean that Trump's first administration, there was an open border?
No.
Okay, we can also look at the end of Obama's...
Trump's been pretty consistent with his messaging around.
Okay, we can also look at the end of Biden's administration. There were lower daily border crossings than the end of Trump's first administration. So it's either that you believe that Trump had a open border, and Biden inherited it, or you believe that the border wasn't open at the end of Biden's administration and Trump inherited a secure border.
Well, I don't think he inherited a secure border. I think Trump's been pretty consistent about
So the border wasn't secure at the end of Trump's administration in his first term. Because again, there were lower border crossings at the end of Biden's administration on a daily average, comparative to the end of Trump's first administration. So if you think that it was secure under Trump's first administration,
Well,
that
part
necessitates
of
that you think it was
because
secure under Biden's administration if your way of viewing it is solely based upon border crossings.
well, I mean, if border crossings and illegal immigration, or whatever you want to call it, was declining towards the end of Biden's administration, I think that's in response to how voters were responding to that because there was a crisis going on. So they were addressing it in an election cycle.
No, it's in response to the fact that Donald Trump undermined the bipartisan border bill, which they then had to respond to with executive policy. And even so, still means that the border was then secure at the end of Biden's administration. Therefore, Trump inherited a secure border.
Yeah, well, I gotta bounce, man. But I appreciate the few minutes chatting with you. Keep it up, bud.
Alrighty.